Break. When we come back, going to talk about our London firefighters. Just like the inside workers, currently without a contract, but unlike them, they've been on the job because they're an essential service. We'll talk to their union head, John Hassan, about where things stand when we come back. This is Devin, and for Craig on AM980.
You're listening to The Craig Needles Show, London's only live and local mid-morning talk show on London's breaking news leader, AM980.
Well, it's not the same level as the province, where the provincial Liberals are seemingly fighting labour battles in all directions, but the city does have its share of labour issues right now. There's obviously QP Local 101. And the inside workers strike. London Police currently negotiating their new contract with the Police Services Board. And we have our firefighters. Firefighters in London have actually been without a contract since 2010, which is obscene. They've been in arbitration for almost 2 years at this point, I believe. To get an update on their situation, we're now joined by the president of the London Professional Firefighters Association, John Hassan. Thanks for your time today. Appreciate it.
Morning.
I did have that right. You've been without a contract since 2010 and in arbitration for at least 18 months.
Yeah, well, it's actually longer than that. So the contract expired on December 31st, 2010, and that was a freely negotiated 3-year deal where we took money only and took a backseat on benefits. And we had our mediation. We're all trying to think back to when our first mediation sessions started, because I think we had conciliation before that. So this has been ongoing since 2011. And we don't anticipate the process to actually end until well into 2016 or perhaps even 2017. We're now booking dates into 2016. And one of my board members joked that he didn't have kids when this all started. And I joked back that I was still in my 40s when this all started. So it's been a long and lengthy process. So
are you any closer to a resolution here, or when do you think we might see?
Well, we've got 10 more days booked. We've had roughly 28 so far. The city now seems to think that we have to finish this up quickly. We're trying to put on the best case we can. And we're quite concerned not only about the length of time, the number of days, but how much is this actually costing the citizens of London. We anticipate or we expect that we're going to spend close to $600,000. We're guessing that the city has probably spent over $1 million so far. But you wouldn't know, because despite claims of transparency by Mr. Zudema and many who have run for council, including our mayor, they're not releasing that figure to Londoners. And we think that Londoners should know how much this is costing, especially when their fire service costs the average household 80 cents a day.
How do you get to the $1 million estimation for the city?
That's just, we're hearing talk amongst some of the people in the room, and some of our others are saying, they figure based on the number of expert witnesses that the city brought in, just a tab on a legal end, that it could be well in excess of $1 million so far.
Why
do you find that concerning?
Why has this process taken so long? We're halfway through 2015 here, for goodness sakes.
Well, the city put a lot on the table, just as you've heard with some of my QP colleagues. The city put a lot on the table in an effort to break our collective agreement. Right off the hop, they wanted to create a $10,000 wage differential between a first-class constable and a first-class firefighter over the 4-year period. And in addition to that, they wanted to contract out a significant portion of our bargaining unit's work, the mechanical division and our communications division. So that was over 20 jobs. And then on top of that, they wanted the sole right to establish, alter, abolish any position in a bargaining unit. They also wanted to exclude top-level supervisors. So that'd be another 6 jobs. So there's like 26 jobs out of a 360-person local. And they wanted to take control of our entire contract and reduce benefits. And on the flip side, we were looking for what we considered normative wage increases, the same sort of parity we've had with police and other fire groups in our comparator group. Some increases in benefits. We tried to increase the benefits for widows, and the city tried to actually take away a lot of our benefits or reduce them. So, and even vacation, like they're trying to cut into our vacation, and it was a big reduction in vacation that got us on the current shift system we're on now that we've been on for close to 20 years. So there's a lot on the table. Originally, the city wanted 30 days. The arbitrator gave them, I think it was like 11 or 12. Now we're up to 28, and there's still some significant work to be done. So they created a big divide. We thought no way we can accept, even close to this amount in a round of bargaining where there was no give on a city side and a big take.
How closely have you been following the QP Local 1 strike?
I've been following it on social media. In fact, I've been following it on your webpage. You've become my local news source. And I was a bit disconcerted when I read on June 11th, it was on your AM980 page, that Mayor Brown told reporters, and this is from your page, that binding arbitration was a non-starter. He said Londoners don't need a contract imposed on them by an outside third party. And he said they need a made-in-London solution that is bargained locally, is freely negotiated, and reflects the needs of the community. And we had a meeting with the mayor earlier in the spring where we offered up going back into mediation instead of using a couple of the days of arbitration, and he wanted nothing to do with it. In fact, we asked him how up-to-date he was on our issues. He claimed that he really wasn't up to speed on what was going on with our contract, which we, again, found a bit disconcerting given how much is at stake and how much the city spent on this. It's a major labor relations issue.
Do you think there's any connection between the two? The city may be trying to use some of the savings from the inside workers, if there's any from this strike, to help pay for your contract?
I really don't know what their agenda is. I see a lot of parallels. I mean, in some of our meetings, the city would disappear for hours on end, and then they'd complain about not using the time efficiently. So what I do see from my union perspective is some union busting going on. I think they're trying to break locals. I think they're trying to get into contracts and usurp a lot of the hard-fought rights and benefits that we've achieved. And a lot of these have come through freely negotiated contracts. And I kind of chuckle when they said it's about modernizing the QP contract. Every time it goes into bargaining, it's looked at. So while things may not change, to say that it's never been modernized, I think is a lot of horse crap, because like our contract, their contract gets looked at, and they've had a lot of successful bargaining relationships. We've had relationship bargaining in the past, and for the last few years, that's just been missing. Like a lot of union leaders in the city, we have an almost zero relationship with a city manager, so that concerns me. And I think there is some kind of a hidden agenda here, and I think people are right to be concerned as to how much all this is costing on the QP side, because it's not just the money they're saving, what's the detrimental effect of the overall economic health of London. And a lot of councillors ran on trying to improve the economic health of London, yet they're silent, absent, not even saying anything about this. Where do they stand?
Do you know if any firefighters have joined the picket line?
Yes, they have. I've got members that have gone out to show support, and I've taken food and water and things like that, and I get calls almost every day as to what are we doing, how can we show support, and I've told them to respect the QP guidelines on their pickets, talk to the picket captains, but certainly show support where they can.
In a completely hypothetical situation, let's say your negotiations, everything, the contract's finalized tomorrow, you still have the contract that would have come after this to deal with. I don't want to get too far ahead here, but I mean, where do you go with the next contract? Because this is still, the contract you're bargaining right now or in arbitration for would have been over by now.
Yeah, it is. So the board that we have engaged now only has jurisdiction up to the end of 2014. And like I said, we anticipate, if we're lucky, sometime mid to late 2016 when we get to decision. It may go longer than that. So we'll be starting behind the curve yet again. And given the sort of mindset of the management mindset that we're dealing with across the table, we don't see things improving. And again, we're very concerned about how much this is costing the citizens of London, how much it's costing my members, when we generally had some pretty good bargaining relationships in the past. For 8, 9, and 10, worst economic meltdown in the history of the world, it seemed, we were able to negotiate a collective agreement, and we had a lot of respect for the city's position. But to my knowledge, in my time, we've never sat down as union leaders with the city manager, gone over some of the city's priorities and tried to work together. That's just never happened, and it's clearly shown in the poor labor relations environment we find ourselves in.
John, I appreciate your time today. Thank you very much.
Thanks for calling.
Alrighty.
Bye.
That's John Hassan, the president of the London Professional Firefighters Association. We need to stop for news.